Welcome to today's WWE Question of the Day. In these Question of the Day videos, as always, we go over a question that a lot of WWE fans have currently, and then as always I'll give my thoughts on it, and as always you guys can let me your thoughts on that question down in the comments below. But as always, before we get anywhere in any video, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload, and go follow the socials. The links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that, helps me out a ton. But now let's get you guys straight on into today's WWE Question of the Day. Alright, so for today's WWE Question of the Day, it is going to be a relatively recent action that had happened on WWE, literally just this past episode of Raw that has people kind of questioning it, and it is going to be, was Bron Breakker turning heel on Seth Rollins the right call? Pretty much, was it the right time to pull this trigger? Now this is a question that I've literally just keep, that people keep asking, and they trying to make conspiracy theories, which we'll get into those as well, and just pretty much the point is there's a majority of people are obviously talking about that because that is the latest big thing that has pretty much happened. And really giving my thoughts on that question, man, I'm going to say yes, that it was the right call. And I'm going to say this because, yes, when you think of a heel turn, you should probably see signs and just actions beforehand before you really get to that climax, or before you really get to that major point, and just overall, obviously Bron Breakker kind of turning heel on Rollins. Of course, you kind of want to build towards that before actually pulling the trigger, and obviously WWE didn't really do that, and I kind of thought about that as well. I definitely did think about that, but also I think it's actually a pretty cool way to go about it, man, because I mean, yes, we didn't get any storyline, so it's kind of out of the blue, but the fact that it's out of the blue is pretty interesting, because then it makes us, that's why I'm literally making this video, because it literally makes us think, it makes WWE fans connect, and it makes us think about, like I mentioned, conspiracy theories. It makes us question the reality, and I think that's honestly pretty cool. I think that is because, WWE could realistically, either the vision is legitimately over, or they're doing this to kind of just throw us off, and inevitably, they're still a team, and they're just trying to do a work. Now that could obviously be the case, there's a few people that I have seen that do feel that way, in the sense of thinking that yes, this is a conspiracy theory, this isn't really going to happen, and maybe this is just to throw off CM Punk. And I say CM Punk specifically because CM Punk is who was going to face Seth Rollins next for his World Heavyweight Championship. Now, a lot of, like I said, a few people that I see online do think that. I, for one, I want to say that WWE is not trying to work us again. I mean, they've worked us so many times this year, so it's kind of how am I going to fall for this work if it really is a work? But I think I'm just going to stick with the fact that it's not a work. And if it's really not a work, man, I think that is absolutely awesome, because honestly, I think if we really get this heel side of Bron, this alternative heel side of Bron Breakker, and he really goes off on this kind of solo thing with obviously Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed, I think that'll absolutely be awesome for Bron Breakker, man. I think WWE has already done a great job at kind of elevating his character. I think same with Bronson Reed too. I mean, they've done a great job with him, but specifically Bron Breakker, and specifically because he's the one that literally speared Rollins, so he kind of turned heel first. And yeah, I mean, I think WWE has done a great job of elevating him from what he was, 6 months ago to now. And for that reason, I think throughout that process, I think it has really made him a top guy, man. Bron Breakker is legitimately a guy that if you asked me 6 months ago saying, oh, he should be in the world title picture, I would absolutely tell you hell no, because he still has time to get there. But now we are here 6 months later, and it's okay, I think this guy can really get in that, he can really be in there, and he can run with these guys, man. So I think if we really are going to let Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman do all this, now I think it honestly is a great time, because these guys are where they are at where they should be at to be in a division like the world title picture, which is a good thing, of course. Okay, and now I do want to kind of predict, or just kind of think about where, if this really is real, if this heel turn really is true, what can we get out of it? What are we going to get out of it is kind of what I want to predict. Pretty much what is going to happen. What is going to happen next? That's kind of what I want to go over here over the next few minutes here. We're going to talk about, we're going to mention here, obviously, both sides. We're going to mention, okay, if it's real, and then if it's not real, then where do you go from there? So we're going to start if it is real. So if this is real, if this heel turn is real, then honestly, I think what's next is that is a very clear answer, man. I think obviously what's next is going to be the world title for Bron Breakker, and I think that I don't think Bron Breakker's literally going to, any of them are going to leave the world title picture. I think they're all going to stay in the world title picture, even if they go up against Seth Rollins and lose. I think they're, no matter what, they're still going to be in that world title picture, because I feel like if you take those guys to the world title picture after everything you just did with them 6 months, have them lose, and then just bring them down to like the tag division or bring them down to the I don't know, like Intercontinental title division, I think that's just doing them a huge disservice. So I think either way, if they lose, and they lose up against Rollins, then no matter what, they're still going to be in that division and obviously that's probably going to be for the next few months and even potentially year. Most likely, honestly, probably going to be the next year. Is they're probably just all going to be in that world title picture, which is freaking awesome, because we already have guys like LA Knight, CM Punk, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins himself, and then if we had guys like Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, I mean, that's just freaking awesome. So that really makes a stacked world title division, and that's going to be something amazing to see on Raw every freaking week. So yeah, I mean, if we're just considering what's next, if it is true, I think it's always just going to be the world title picture. Like I said, it's probably going to be like that over the next year. But now traversing over to, okay, what if it's not real? I think this one is also a very obvious answer too. I mean, obviously, if it's not real, then it's just going to be a major work. Of course, you know, if it's not true, you know, it's not true. I mean, I don't really know where you go from that. I mean, everything is pretty much probably just going to go back to normal. Maybe some things change, but I mean, if it's not real, if this heel turn isn't real, for the most part, you know, this might play out maybe, I don't know, maybe a few weeks, and then we go back to normal, you know, where we still have the vision, and then, you know, I think that's kind of just what it's going to be. You know, I don't think it's going to, if it's not real, I don't think it's going to turn into anything crazy. I think everything's just going to go back to normal. I mean, I just really don't know what you would do to make anything different if this really is not a reality here of Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed being heels. So yeah, I mean, if we're just considering it's not going to be true, everything, you know, it's probably going to play out, like I mentioned, a few weeks, and then we're just going to jump right back into the normal vision. Alright everybody, we have now reached the end of the video. As always, I do hope you guys did enjoy. This was a short one, but this is kind of going to be how WWE question of the days or question of the weeks are really going to be, man. They're not going to be anything that's going to be long, but in these short videos, we're going to get good conversations. So as always, be sure to leave me your thoughts on the question, my thoughts on the question. Be sure to leave me your thoughts, debating me, you know, all that. Just leave it down in the comments below. But as always, before we get out of here, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload, and go follow the socials. The links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that. Helps me out a ton. And I will catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.